All right, here we go. After party number 54. 55. I got 54 down. Really? It's a 55?
No, it's 54.
What? 54.
Wow.
Well.
And here
My bad.
we just praised Emily for being so efficient off mic, but goodness gracious.
I'm so efficient, I'm one ahead.
As soon as the tape starts rolling, everything goes out the window.
All right, we're going to talk about sessions 165, A Blank Space, 166, While We Wait, 167, Out of Desperation. Whew, I got to take a breath here. There's a lot of them. 168, Into the Mountains, 169, Made for This, and 170, Horkish.
So we found the gauntlets, we found the chest plate, we got Clash to agree to give them to Samuel. Bing, bam, boom, let's go. Good night.
Easy.
Yeah, we could have had this crap done in 30 episodes.
Campaign's over.
Check.
We took Bakla back to the theater and showed him Jolvi. He uses a keytar, crushed his spirits twice, told him he was the only Darkling alive, except for Jolvi, who plays a keytar.
We don't know that for sure. There's other Darklings alive, they're just so brainwashed. So it's like, will they survive or not? You know.
I'm sure we'll rescue all
Well,
of them.
they are a fragile being.
They need... are Darklings heterosexual? Like, how do they... Can Jolvi and Bakla reproduce?
I think you're using the wrong word there.
Oh, what's the word?
They just
Is there hope for the
subdivide.
species?
I'm sure the Neogi are looking after the Darklings in their care and taking the utmost care of them and seeing to all their needs. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, the Darklings just bud. That's how they reproduce.
They bud? Okay, they have spores? Okay.
Perfect.
That's why there's always a Jolvi. It's actually the same Jolvi. It's just a budding of Jolvi.
But who pollinates them?
He's fermented.
Well, some questions you don't want the answer to.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Music pollinates him, okay?
All right, I'm going to write the Aspara lore.
What if we have a... what if there's a cross-pollination of Darkling and now the Neogis?
Ooh.
We have
That would not
That would
good.
be gross.
a Neogling.
Although maybe, would that mean they could go out in the sunlight? Like the Orkai?
Would they be like basically the blade of a dark Neogling? The daywalk? They could
Ooh,
be
I like that.
daywalkers?
Oh.
All right. Well, moving ahead with our newly formatted after parties. I know Emily has taken extensive notes. She worked very hard re-listening to the episodes.
Thank you so much.
Has basically 6 Samuel Coulter-sized journals full of notes from these last episodes.
Yes.
Mm.
Now be sure
may
to
have
read
been
the invisible
misinformed.
ink. Yeah.
I will get the anti-magic device.
Yes. Anti-magic field.
We got a lot of information in these last 6.
Yeah.
Is there an additional book that's a little bit more risque along with the notes? Just
I
like
kept it.
Samuel had?
Samuel had a risque
I'm not
book.
sharing that
Actually, Shaft gave that away to a random kid on the street.
Wait. There's a risque
Oh, yeah,
book
yeah.
that I didn't get to know about?
Yeah.
one. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Palaboys?
The Palaboys, that's right. The Palaboys.
Oh, the Palaboy. Oh, we have heard of this.
Yeah, you guys didn't hear that, but I did give it to a kid on the street.
Yeah.
And
I forget when that was or what was happening. But...
What was the most worn page? Like, where was it folded open to the most often?
Oh, the centerfold.
When you finally met with Samuel and you gave him the cipher and the books and he asked, was there anything else? What do you think he was actually talking about?
He's talking about the Palaboys.
I was tight-lipped. I couldn't let that slip.
That's what Palaboy said. Don't let it slip.
Yeah, like Emily said, we got a lot of information here. Really, my biggest takeaway from these 6 episodes was that Mia was tired.
I was so exhausted.
I think it was mentioned once or
Like
twice.
I binged all 6 of these today at work, and honestly listened to all 6 of them back to back to back to back to. Oh boy, was I getting tired of Mia's shit! Holy crap!
Aren't you glad you're not married to me?
Oh my goodness!
Well, I mean, he's talking about Mia. Come on.
I know, but you
Am
know,
I?
Yeah.
I think I was just trying to convey, which I obviously did well, that I had like 0 resources left.
Yes, we picked up on that.
Yeah, I mean, this was another classic Incorrigible Party stretch a single day into about 12 episodes because the last batch of 6 was the same day.
Oh,
There was
it?
there was a lot of fights, right? Pretty sure the flying boat fight, the tunnel fight, like all this was all in one long
Yeah,
rest.
this was all this same day that you've now been given the instructions from
When Mia got to the
Samuel
front lines and like balls to the walls was like, don't hold back. She did that the first fight, and then the second fight was like, oh, well, I mean, I gotta keep giving what I got. And then third fight, I mean, I had nothing.
Yeah, Mia's a bit of a sprinter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in the endurance race. Although, I mean, we didn't have the hour or take the hour to do the Heroes Feast again. We'll see if that bites us in the butt.
That's true.
Because that was a lot of points, but we heard clamoring. Which, how far could they have moved in an hour? We might not have run into Clash and Hork, so I don't know. Worth it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
Probs.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made it this far without the Heroes Feast, right? Except for once when we really, really needed it.
Yeah. Well, and I hated to unattune to the weapon, or not weapon, the amulet of legendary actions, but...
Which will probably come to nothing. We probably won't use those cubes at all.
You took notes. Where did we start? Where did 165 start? I'm trying
But
to
you
remember.
crushing Bakla, telling him he was the last Darkling alive.
Okay, yeah. But we did keep our word and go back for him. And help
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. I mean, I think you did right by Baklava. I think he's as happy as he can be in the situation.
Right. I feel like in the moment in those tunnels, Shakar and Shaft almost convinced me to just forget him, and who knows. But I was trying to be good, and I did good things. Falzarin and I did it. We got him.
Yeah, Shaft ultimately came to the same conclusion that if you guys went and did your thing, I could use that to do what I needed to do. So Baklava did come in handy.
Right. I can't just like resurrect
Like a
people
dessert.
on the boat. Like, you're needed. You're the one. Every one person matters, and then just like ignore Bakla.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the Bakla exchange and basically what Bakla served as was just like to eat up more time, right? As you were.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To get us to go back to Drakal so that Shaft could do his shaftiness.
No, so we couldn't
and-
catch the
I didn't-
giants.
I didn't know you're gonna use him as that excuse, but that kind of harkens to a question I have for all of you that I was gonna say to the end, but now we're kind of into it. What, if anything, do you all think that the party could have done to better the situation that the paladins find themselves in, or do you think that there was some actions that, or maybe a course of actions that could have went differently for, that maybe could have avoided the actual the necessity of powering up the tower in general, right, or just all together? I mean, there were a few things that could have maybe went better for you and the paladins during the camp, and again, this was kind of like during those boat fights and last, the losing of the supplies. But obviously, I think Shakar had said it in one of the episodes. He's turning on the tower because you have his bloody cipher, is what she screamed at Shaft, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, is entirely true in part. In addition to, as Samuel was trying to convey, it's kind of dire straits. Like I think there's a bit of an underestimation that's gone on, right? I think that the Niyogi have been constantly underestimated throughout this campaign. Perhaps not necessarily, not like directly or, but I just mean in general. Like they're just kind of like this looming shadow, right? And you don't really know how big the thing casting the shadow is until you're right up to it.
Right, yeah, they amassed way more people in their army than we thought. They are very many more
Oh yeah.
than we ever thought possible.
Right. Think of it like a rolling stone, right? Or a boulder that you're pushing. It starts off really slow and then just gains momentum, and then it just pays dividends as their numbers swell, which allows them to acquire more quickly, kind of thing, right? Even just how quickly that the Niyogi themselves would be able to reproduce and have thralls for the hatchling Niyogis, right, as they quickly mature. I mean, you've all had plenty of you've all dealt with plenty of hatchlings, right? You know, and you've seen their life cycles essentially, and have done your part in trying to stop just their reproduction as well. But that's just one small part of it.
You did a good job of initially introducing us to Niyogi. Mia's whole story starts on Niyogi, focuses on Niyogi, but then like we got super caught up in other things.
So a little Kraken and, you know, downfall Heracleon. And...
Again, important to take care of, like couldn't be ignored, but those things lent the opportunity for the Niyogis to like build and things to happen in the world.
Yeah.
It's like we couldn't then travel and warn towns and cities or like see what the situation was. And yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020. Mia would never let that Niyogi live a second time around if she had the insight now.
But I think even if we had not focused on the Kraken and we had not been on Heracleon for 5 years, then I don't think we could have stopped the Niyogi. Even when when we first started the campaign, if we had gone into the mountains, we would have been wiped out. We were no match for even the few Niyogi that were there then.
No, I just wonder if we could have made an impact with the cities where they were like trading and trafficking them and like the breeding of them, or like, I don't know, preparing the towns a bit. Like, if Mia could do it all over again, she'd kill that Niyogi, drag its carcass to Barrack, and be like, don't trust these guys, this is what they look like. Warn everyone you know, like, all this stuff. Where instead she was like, we have a deal, I trust them. Like,
but then also, like, towns like Altenshik, it's all farmers. So what really could they have done?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I'm not sure how a lot of these
pitchforks.
Towns would defend themselves against these psychic abilities of the Niyogi.
I don't know.
Like, obviously, the circlets that the paladins have access to are great, but like those people wouldn't have that, right?
And even the circlets aren't a guarantee.
No.
I mean, that's an interesting point. I think that's something we're going to be constantly reflecting on right up until the end of the campaign, which is, as has been made clear by one of Britt's questions, drawing ever closer, right? As
feels like it.
Each episode ticks by, yeah. But everything you did in Heracleon and in dealing with the Kraken and the Coven, I mean, you can see. I think you can clearly see now how still it's still connected to the struggle with the Niyogi, maybe by a couple different extensions, but the dealings with the Coven and obviously connected to the Paladins. So, you know, everything is like 6 degrees of separation, right? Everything is pretty close. So it's not even like you were off dealing with something entirely completely separate, because if you had focused your efforts, I think we talked about this off mic after one of our last plays. Just imagine how different things would be if the party had focused fire on the tower job immediately. And say you got your hands on one or both eyes of Dendar, or the amulets. If you had gotten the amulet from Prince Charmington back in like session like 14, Barm Jams, right? In the back of that Niyogi wagon as you fought your way out. Imagine if you had this piece of the armor of Kalar. Or we now see that Kalash has had the chestplate this entire time, which we saw for the first time in a Gozer flashback in session 23. And then again, meeting him in session 40, I think it was 42 and 43, it was a 2-parter with Adelaide Gardner as guest, that he had it. Like, you've been so close to so many of these pieces so many times. Things could be just absolutely drastically different. You could be a straight up enemy of the Paladins right now had you had these items, right, in your possession. I don't know who the party would have turned to in that case. Would you be more aligned with Isabella and the Coven right now?
Possibly.
I mean, why would we be enemies of the Paladins, though, if they saw that armor and they're like, oh, hey, we need that, and then explained why they needed that? We might have been like, oh, yeah, cool, here you go.
I don't think we trusted the Paladins at all.
It could have happened. No, we didn't. They were one of the big bads, but we could have.
yeah. I mean, that might have happened.
Depends on what they were offering for it.
If they asked nicely, said pretty please.
Where did Bryn die in the same tunnels that we saw the breastplate?
No.
No.
No. Bryn died in the tunnels beneath the Tainted Lake.
With Brendel.
The offshoot tunnel was near to the lake though. I was off of the tunnel that the river runs through, or runs from Pisces, like from the sea past Pisces.
Okay, that's maybe what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, they're very close though. They're very geographically
It was close in time, I think. Our travels there. But anyway, it's all crazy because the whole amulet started with Bryn stealing it from the Paladins.
Yeah.
And just how it's all tying together. I don't know. I definitely felt after our last play session, I felt things wrapping up and didn't know how to feel about it. It felt cool to have answers, but felt weird to have answers. Because, you know what I mean?
Because we've been going for 2 years without answers to anything.
Like almost 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the pieces all coming together, right? Horik's back, and the armor pieces are together, and now everything's out in the open as far as knowledge.
Yeah, Shaft shared.
Leland did a good job of editing that episode because when we talked it through, it was confusing. I don't know. I felt very confused in that, like, sit in the tent and share knowledge.
Oh yeah, when you discovered good written into the family tree there,
and just like all the stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it was. It wasn't like fully decoded on mic, really. Like it wasn't just laid out, which I guess we could do. We could do now, but like, I think we touched on in that episode.
TLDR.
Exactly, TLDR is like you had most of these bits of information, right? And this kind of comes again to just the timing of the campaign, because if you had found this information 150 episodes ago or 100 episodes ago, right, you wouldn't have most of that information. So it would or could have been something that the party would or could have worked towards deciphering and learning more about and taking advantage of. But unfortunately, this information, depending on your perspective, is coming a little too late because there's not much for the party to do or to act on with this information. It's just kind of filling in kind of the gaps in knowledge, I think, right? As we've been going through and picking up, someone says this over here, another NPC tells us this here. Now you're getting things just fully fleshed out for you.
Yeah, I think it worked out well. I mean, there was reasons why everybody did or didn't share whatever they had, their knowledge. You know, what we told, Mia versus what we told, we wanted to be careful with who we shared. Falzern and I had a lot of information dumped on us a number of episodes ago, but we didn't know how it all tied together necessarily either, right? And Shaft was also keeping, anytime he gets something that can give a leg up, he's going to keep that. I was going to use that as a bargaining chip with Samuel, right? Potentially to get Nina, to get, there's a number of things I could do when you have a piece of information everybody wants. And, it never really played out the way I envisioned it in my head, but I thought it was the time to share. I think we all, over the last 20 episodes, have sort of decided we all are a unit.
Right.
And,
right.
It's
now or never.
Yeah. It's like the trust issues and everything. We're just like, that doesn't matter now. We got to do this.
So do you think some of those bargaining chips that Shaft tried to hold on to, like you waited too long to play them? And that's kind of why things didn't quite pan out the way he may have thought?
Probably. I mean, I didn't think it was going to take anywhere near as long for us to get back with Samuel again. I mean, from the time we left Samuel in the keep to when we saw him again, I mean, how many episodes was that? I mean, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
It wasn't in actuality a lot of days. It was a lot of play sessions, though, for sure. Like stretched out.
Right. It was at least 20 episodes, right? Like when did Shikara or Kula? Like that was when, right? That was like 126 or something. Whoa, wow. Maybe that was a lot further away than I realized. I mean, it's only been like 4 or 5 days since you've seen it.
Samuel talked to us, gave us this thing about the amulet, and then literally a year later, we were in Drew Call. Like, I think a year of recording, right?
I mean, my thought, Shaft's thought was he has this information, this codex that he needs, and I want to get Nina back. And I know he has a connection. He obviously is more, the higher tiered over Isabella, who would therefore be higher tiered over Jessica, and I might be able to pull some strings there saying, hey, I know how to get this codex for you, but this is what I need you to do for me to do that. And, but it never played out that way, which is fine. That's why I kept it separate. I kept it off, hidden away with all the other books, just in case I could use it. And then it got to the point where, there's no point in trying to play that card. And I wanted to see if the codex would give us the rest of the clues that we were missing after our conversation.
Speaking of, do we want to do the TLDR on what the clues in the codex were?
Yeah.
I also had a really good idea that never panned out too, that I was trying to set up, was to, the reason I always kept the shackles the way that I did was I wanted to go and turn Mia into Hannah for the bounty, take the money, and then have her port back to me.
Right.
That was a scheme I had in my head, but it, of course,
Spicy.
It all changed with the hot tub.
You weren't allowed in.
If I was
Baron
going in the
Zarin.
hot tub, that would have been the plan.
Baron frickin' Zarin.
Yeah.
Okay, so for a refresher, the little cultist motto, the family motto. Handed down what's rightfully yours, among trees that scrape the sky you lie, closest to gold yet far more precious, far below the river's fork, set off for climates of snow and orc. Then there's kind of a second clause, which I realized during recording I didn't properly really explain to the party either, so that probably played into a little bit of a misunderstanding or misconception of what was going on, because really it's like a second paragraph or like a second stanza, which reads, a farmer's aid in arid landscapes, windows of your soul split to keep them, not of the coast, but water seeps towards them. So you got through, a lot of it. Obviously, the helm is what's handed down. The amulet was found in the Philarian forest among the trees. Closest to Goldham, yet far more precious, and far below the river's forks are just referencing the approximate locations of where the pieces may be. Again, these are all kind of referring to locations in which they're found, which, again, you had the knowledge of knowing where the towers were erected, also kind of giving you hints at how to decode this. And then finally set off for climates of snow and orc, which is, of course, were the gauntlets, which you ended up retrieving in their original location.
And the breastplate.
Well, yeah, and then and finding the breastplate, which is one of the pieces that was not found. What did I say in the episode? These aren't the notes that I have these in, but wasn't found south of Victor or Goldham, one of the two. And then a farmer's aid in arid landscapes, referencing the scythe of Limerick. Windows of your soul, of course, referencing the eyes of Dendar. Not of the coast, but water seeps towards them. So those are, again, locations of these items. Now, the arid landscape part could potentially refer to, I think, Shaft had immediately thought Altenshik, but that could also potentially be Zexa. So as you're kind of going through this, you have these two locations that it may be the answer, right? And then as you move on, windows of your soul split to keep them, not of the coast, but water seep towards them. So that's referencing that line. Now kind of narrows down the previous line, because that references, I believe it's Barrack and Altenshik as rivers flow towards both of those cities. Now that's also the case for Pisces, but it's not of the coast, which Pisces is a coastal city. So I think it can make sense. I hope that actually ended up making sense once it's kind of decoded. But
Well, in a stanza coded kind of way, it makes sense, yes.
right.
Yeah, I think it wasn't too difficult to figure. I mean, it wasn't easy to figure out, but it wasn't, it was in that right zone where you had a number of different things it could be, right? And you have to talk through it, which I thought was great.
Yeah. So and as was explained, and as how many of like the recountings of some of the past activities with through the generations of the cultists is, Like it just reads as if it's like myth, or oh, this is just like some saying that they have, kind of thing, as it's supposed to be, because these pieces are supposed to be kept hidden unless, break glass in case of emergency, which is kind of what's happening right now, right? And I think in the episode 2, I had mentioned that like the location of the current tower at the base of the mountains is not just a random place chosen, right? That's as close as can get, especially what's going on in the mountains, to that climate of snow and orc, right?
And we found out who Father Lebick is and how much of a bad guy he is, we think.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Not somebody we want brought back.
I wish Alamar was around to do it.
Yeah. Right.
I do miss Alamar.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
My throat
Alamar
doesn't.
was fun.
My throat does not
Yeah,
miss that.
your throat is in better shape.
That's a tough voice to maintain.
Right.
It's nice when we get stuck, we can always ask the sack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could continually forget that he's there all the time, and you give all this information. You always forget NPCs and Alamar, which is wonderful. I always like that.
Yeah.
You never knew when he was going to spout something off that you didn't realize he picked up on.
Right.
Well, I mean, Bakla got the entire decoded message here about the arm
Oh,
of
yeah.
Galar, so
Oh, we've done that so many times.
We should put a little reminder. It pops up every once in a while and says, "Look around. Who's around you?"
Which NPCs are listening?
all of them.
We did finally get to talk to Sammy. Good old Sammy. And we met his 3 generals, which I don't know if we'll ever talk to them again, but it was nice to meet them briefly.
Falls are in hope so.
We wrote down their names and their specialties, and in case.
And Sammy used the cipher that Shaft produced and the amulet to show us on the map where the gauntlets were supposed to be. And then, after he unearthed them, he told us they were unearthed and anybody wandering around could go by and pick them up.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, by the way, these are just chilling and glowing for anyone to see, or whatever it was. And of course it was in the middle of a camp of whatever those things were. Salamander dragons. What are they?
Basilisks. But it's a
With
good
a
thing.
B or
it's
a
actually
V?
B.
Basilisk?
Yeah.
yeah.
Basilisk.
Basilisk.
It was actually, like I said in the episode, a good thing they were there because we were able to avoid them, but we would not have been able to avoid all of those Neogi and Orcs and Umberhawks and things that they were
Yeah,
chomping
true.
on.
True.
So they actually did us a favor. Thank you, Leland.
True.
I mean, I should have known that you would have been able to successfully sneak around this camp at night. I don't know what I was thinking.
You did get to eat Sparky.
That is true. Thank you for sending Sparky off by themselves. So
I don't know, the whole like traveling into the mountains thing was cool, the way you did it, the way it took longer, the way we traversed it. I don't know, prepared for it. Felt cool. Mia's not excited about the idea of the towers being booted up. I don't know how you guys feel, but at the same time realizes like, oh, it's like an offensive defense to like, if you're not on our side, you're gonna die in the blue light, right? So like it makes sense, but
And can we talk about these cubes and how limiting they are?
yeah.
Yeah.
3 hours, and that's not a guarantee. It's like
Right. 3 hours for a
you need to make these
burly-
things better, damn it.
We knew they were
strong
rotating
person.
watches, though. We knew that much from Paladins that we had talked to, right?
yeah, and keep in mind you need 6 levels of exhaustion before you die from it.
Ah, yeah. What's 2, 3,
Yeah,
4
But
levels of
once
exhaustion?
you start getting exhaustion, it's harder to make those saves. It's
Yeah, okay.
guaranteeing.
But, so so if you get a solid 3 out of the cube, and you can fend off, let's say you fend off one of the next 3 hours, you're still good. That's 6 hours. You got 2 levels of exhaustion. I mean, and you've been doing whatever you need to do for 6 hours. Like, that's pretty good. It
But
gives you
then
enough
to
time to get in,
remove
do
levels
something,
of
get out.
exhaustion takes quite a bit, too.
I mean, hell, 6 hours, that's what, 5
And then-
episodes?
And we're with Falzarin, who can last how long, did he say?
Well, it was a slight on Falzarin, but there's also all of us. We all have the same
Yeah.
Which I was surprised he gave Falzer in 3 hours.
Beg your pardon?
I just hate that it kills like anything living sort of thing. I don't know. Or that's what
Yeah.
it's been described as. Like, right, the landscape even just like shrivels and dies. I hate the thought of that. And the city. Like, some of the city was within reach, right? I don't like that.
Quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were doing their best to evacuate everyone. Were they
I
not?
know.
Well, luckily, a lot of
Yeah.
the population went down during the play, so now not as many
was
people
just-
died.
It's like putting Mia's money where her mouth is, though, to be like, this is the only thing that matters. We need to survive. Nothing else matters. Like, the Neogi need to die. And then coming to the reality of, like, oh, a lot of other stuff's gonna die or suffer in the meantime, right? Like, I don't know. I just felt more conflicted in Mia's mind than I thought I would have.
If they don't turn the towers on, a lot more people potentially could suffer and die.
Sure, that's what Mia's trying to focus on. Like, you can only control what you can do, and like, this is our best chance. But I just think in general she didn't like that it had to come to that. You know,
Yeah.
a little conflicted.
How do you think Samuel feels about it?
It's a tool.
I don't know.
It's a weapon.
He's hard to read.
He seems more pragmatic and not
Yeah.
that he's not caring, but not he doesn't let it get to him because it's the decision he made and that's what's going to happen. And
Do you think it's because
deemed it
he's
the
like
best.
so old, right? Like, he's got some Fountain of Youth crap going on, right? He's old.
Yeah, but he's not like hundreds of years old.
Oh, okay. I thought it maybe was. Like,
No,
over
no.
100.
He's like he would be like in his 80s, but looks like half the age. Like it's
Okay,
not
okay.
like
For some reason I thought he was like maybe 150 or something. Where
not
he's
quite.
like,
No.
things get rebuilt, time heals wounds, sort of like I've seen things, been there. Okay.
I think it's more that he's a general and he's used to sending people into battle and not being given the luxury of being able to care about that.
Yeah, like you can't make things personal or take things personally or dwell on it when you have to make those decisions every day for how many years?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Middle management. Wait.
30 years from now, I don't care. Wipe them out.
Turn on the tower.
I mean, I'm damn near there now.
I liked in some of the early episodes we had a kind of I think a little later on too it came back up, but we had a bit of conversation what to do with the eyes of Dendar, and we kind of
Well, will
had
we even get them?
we kind of had a bit of a questioning of Shakara about whether or not she's compromised, given her position in the coven. Again. Yeah, but
Again.
I think this was the first real direct confrontation about it, honestly. And Falzern backtracked it a little bit after Shakara got heated, as Falzern likes to kind of smooth things over. I think Falzern plays quite often kind of this arbiter within the party, trying to keep everybody even keeled as much as he can and just kind of smooth the rough edges a little bit.
Falzarin doesn't like conflict.
Right. I'm not sure he's very successful when he tries.
Very rarely. He's often good at making things worse.
But I think that's also because generally Mia doesn't give Falzarin a chance to continue.
What?
Once Shakara yells, Falzarin says, okay, let's go. And Mia says, stop it, you're making Shakara yell. And Shaq is sleeping on his watch.
Well, and I do like when you take the attention away from me occasionally and draw the ire towards you.
This isn't IRL D&D at all.
It's a good little
Honey, be quiet.
thing we have going.
Okay.
She didn't mean right now, Bill.
Okay. This has to wrap up before Emily finishes that mead. We're getting giggly, Emily. Here. Oh, man. Sorry, Bill. Continue.
No, it's fine.
What are you going to do with the eyes, Shakara?
Stick them in a skull and make a spooky Halloween display.
Ooh.
I mean, I thought giving him to the Tritons might be a good idea. I mean, right now, Samuel is not going to give them to us because he's using it to power the tower. At least
Right.
one of them. I don't know where the other one is. Or if both of them are powering the tower. I don't know.
Is it
We
the
don't know.
draw of Dendar very strong with you?
I can't feel her, no.
I think what Shakara's been trying to tell us is that, like, yes, she has this relationship with Dendar, but ultimately, if these eyes making their way back to Dendar or being used to serve Dendar is going to be bad, then she's fine with sort of like almost betraying Dendar.
So I do have an idea of what would happen if Isabella got the eyes, even though Shakara told you she doesn't know.
Can you tell us?
Gasp.
It's nothing good.
What? Have all the great things that Isabella's done for everybody?
She's
From what I
a
can
saint.
remember, Leland, correct me if I'm wrong, if Isabella gets the eyes, she gives them to Dendar. That's the only thing Dendar needs in order to come back. And if Dendar comes back, she's wiping everybody out, unless you're a follower of Dendar. Which is also part of why I've been trying to grow my family. So anybody that is
Fewer
a warlock
casualties.
Oh,
to
you
me-
were just trying to save Mia.
Yeah. That's why we need Father Limerick.
Yes.
You're like, listen,
No.
your
What?
God is great and all, but my God won't kill you.
But see, like, if you pledge yourself to her, she won't kill you either.
That's
all
a
you
pretty
gotta
good deal,
do.
really.
That's a cult.
She gives
That's
you
a cult I wanna
power.
join.
She doesn't kill you right now. It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I would like to take her on, but I'm feeling like she's a little more powerful than I originally.
Oh, Dendar, you cannot take on.
Yes.
Isabella, all of us
Debated.
together could maybe.
I don't know.
I think that's what you might, right, Elena, was Isabella.
I meant Izzy, yeah. I meant Izzy.
Yeah, I think Izzy is this entity that is hard to pin down. Like, she seems to wear a lot of different hats and she behaves differently around different people, and it's hard to say for sure how powerful she is.
See, I don't think Isabella is really subordinate to Cultist. I think she's letting him believe that. But I think she could take him out in a second.
I think that too.
I think she's
Oh, yeah.
playing him
Okay, so Samuel, Izzy, one-on-one.
Izzy.
Well,
with all
Izzy
the
all the way.
armor.
Oh, with the all there.
I don't know.
Maybe Cultist then.
Without the armor, you think Izzy could still take him?
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I think
man.
Izzy's a schemer, right?
She's older than him, right?
And so, regardless of who's powerful, I think she probably believes that the way she's behaving around him is the best way to get what she wants.
Exactly. Let him think he's in charge, and
Yeah.
eventually she'll get what she wants.
Yeah, I like Izzy. I kind of wish we were back in Heraklion some days so Isabella could be around. But I do
Maybe
miss.
she should just show
I
up
do
at the
miss-
battlefield.
yeah, there's nothing stopping her from portaling over.
Yeah.
I fully expect her to show up any
She
time
has
now.
to. Come on, Leland,
Yeah,
do it.
she's gonna ruin our plans 100%.
I want her
I'm
to,
calling
like,
it right now.
As soon
Fake
as we get the
nice.
eyes. As soon as we get the eyes,
There's a
we're gonna-
payment due. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, we're going to try and give them to the Triton, sneaky, and she's going to show up and take them from us.
Or she swoops in before we even get them.
So what? Okay, what? Hey, Shakara, Emily. What happens if, as you predict, that Samuel refuses to give up the eyes while he needs them, right? Whether or not that's short-term refusal or long-term refusal, that's up. Who knows? But what if then Isabella tasks you to be the debt collector?
Oh, goodness. I would first try to explain to her why they were needed, where they were. And then she would probably tell me, oh, well, Dendark will take care of all of it. Just give her the eyes and the Nyogi won't be a problem anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have to be like, okay, I guess I'll go get the eyes. And then take a really long time to do it.
Delay.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean,
She wouldn't see through that at all, I'm sure.
it would be satisfying to get an ending where we kill Izzy, in my opinion.
I think we have to.
Sorry, Dendar followers. But I also think it'd be satisfying to, like, leave it up to your imaginations. Like, she's still around. We don't know what happens. Campaigns wraps up how you want it to on that front.
I personally hate that kind of stuff. If you're telling a story, finish the story.
We can't have answers to everything immediately.
Immediately. Not at 170. Yeah.
So, like, yeah, 170 more episodes to finish the Izzy storyline? A storyline? I don't know.
No, just Leland will have to write something that wraps it all up. Nice
That'd be a
and neat.
spin-off.
Oh, he's
No
gonna
pressure.
tell us what happened.
Spin-off.
A spinoff. Is he?
Okay. If we do an Izzy spinoff or a wrap up where it's like off screen, let's say, like quote unquote, right? Like, you know, like the prologue. It has to be something where there's rolling dice involved, I say. Where it's like, if you roll this happened. If you roll this happened.
So at the end, are we going to just do like a little thing, like a sentence that says, and now Isabella, got married,
It's gonna
has
be a
couple
Mad
kids,
Lib.
and lives in a small...
Yes, it's going to be a
Yeah.
Isabella Mad Lib where we roll for what the words are in the poem.
Well,
I like it.
I like it in theory, but to have that be the outcome of 4 years of a campaign, I don't think so. Roll me a weather die, and that's going to determine the ending. Roll me the ending die.
Roll me a d10. It was a foggy day.
And Isabella slaughtered you all. The end.
Visibility was 30 feet. Yeah. Oh, man.
That kind of brings me to another question I had. And I am interested in... And honestly, I meant to give you a little heads up on this question, but it kind of slipped my mind until I was driving home today. But I would like to know from each of you what your... And this is something as we haven't checked in for a while either, but I would like to know what each of you as players would like to see the final outcome be for your characters. And then... So I want your answer here, but then each of you could private message me if that answer may or may not be tweaked because you don't want to reveal your true intention.
Because
to
Shakara's
everybody.
evil. Da, da, da.
No, I know exactly what I want my character's end to be. I've thought about messaging Leland several times about it and haven't. I want Shakara and Isabella to go up against each other and take each other out. I want them to end each other. The final epic battle where they both die.
Can I help you?
Maybe.
Okay. I didn't say who I was going to help kill.
Yeah, which
but...
part of that are you helping?
Yeah, why do you want that for Shakara?
I just feel like it would be like an ultimate, so she was good. She was very, very good. And then she started going evil. And now she's kind of bouncing back and forth between good and evil. And I think that would be an ultimate redemption. Take out Isabella, but also dies in the same time.
And an answer to be like, she was good. She was
Yeah.
on her
Without
side.
the E.
Interesting, without the E.
She was on her
So
side.
does that mean that part of what's inner turmoiling Shakara is that she feels like she needs redemption?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She hasn't done anything like totally unspeakable yet, but she's definitely not lived up to her previous standards. Like, she feels she definitely cannot go back home to where her family is right now. I mean, one, they wouldn't recognize her because she's a hex blood now, but two, they wouldn't recognize her personally, her personality, the way she is.
You
her
said that
being.
wrong. She's hot now.
They wouldn't recognize her, like, just talking to her and who she is. She's definitely not even close to being the same person. She didn't live up to her oath of the ancients.
I mean, when was the last time Shakara even spoke about her great deeds that she set out to do?
Been a long time.
Yeah. I mean, what was the last great deed that you performed? Do you remember?
I believe it was saving some people from Yogi in a wagon. I think. Or no, it was something after that.
There was something after that during that campaign that wasn't just in your backstory.
Yeah, there was a great deed during the campaign.
Yeah, maybe it'll come to me when I'll think on it as we continue. But Shaft, John, you've told me before.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? You told him?
I'm guessing Nina.
You can't interrupt me like that. You left too much of a pause. You got to jump in while
pause?
When the words are still being spoken, you got to jump in right there.
I see.
The
Okay.
problem is I'm not listening to
Like
you at
now?
all, so I'm just talking right over you.
I see.
Yeah, okay.
Leland
I'll
loves
let you
when we do
understand.
this.
Yeah, it's great.
John the uninterruptible.
I'm going to put that on a business card. You don't recall what I told you I wanted the...
No, I do.
Okay.
Do you not want to share?
I don't think I want to share that, no.
Just make up a lie for the listener.
Okay, that's
Gosh.
fine.
I mean, ultimately, I want to get away from this whole mess.
Falzarin?
And well, I'll send you a Christmas card, like I said.
Hey, I got a Christmas card from you too this last Christmas. Wait a second.
It doesn't mean what you think it means, Leland. What do you think it means?
Whatever it is, it's the opposite.
I think he's got himself into a lot deeper mess than he ever thought he was going to get in, and now ultimately he wants out of the whole thing and start over again.
The shaft wants out of the hole.
That's right.
Mia?
Mia. I feel like I've answered this, but we'll see if this is the same as what I said last time. Mia wants to wipe out the Neogi. Gotta get rid of that. If that's not gone, that's Mia's thing. Secondly, check on her family, restore family order, help rebuild Barrack, whatever's needed to do at home in Barrack. But then I see Mia leaving and continuing to protect Aspara in whatever way. I could also see her trying to get back in touch with the Tritons and or just checking in on the situation with the whole... What's my dad's name?
Kralakina.
Yeah, Kralakina, my dad, Talos, Telena, all that, like being banned. Like, are they actually locked away? Is that all good? Do you need my help? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely some unfinished business there.
I just legitimately see her wanting to just protect Aspara for whatever's next and just, I don't know.
Heroes feasting every day.
Yeah, he's gonna hero feast for whoever 11 other people are around. And, no, she's not gonna go up and, retire somewhere and just live on her Brightwood money at all. I think she's, determined to, this is her calling, so.
Last but not least.
Falzarin. He's had ups and downs, man. He left Heraklion because he thought that there wasn't much left for him to learn there, or that they were entrenched in their traditions that were too restrictive. And now it's been a roller coaster of danger and near-death experiences and turmoil that he's been dragged through. But I think he, part of him perhaps is tempted to just retire back at Heraklion and say, enough of this mainland garbage. I'm going back to the island.
He could rule Heraklion.
Because I think Heraklion is in need of some rebuilding, and the Alamar's gone, and that the whole elders have all been shaken up. So I could see him going back and retiring to Heraklion for a more peaceful life and helping get order back in Heraklion. But I could also see him deciding to continue adventuring. Throughout Aspara, or maybe there are other continents over the seas that he could go and explore and find new things to learn and experiences to have. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between either of those options.
There are potentially 3 elders out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fake elders.
Elders?
I don't know. That's better than elders.
So in that scenario, is that directly after Shakara and Isabella kill each other? Because how else are you going to get Heraklion?
Yeah. Got pried out of Izzy's cold, dead fingers.
Yeah, honestly, I think if you factor Izzy into it, he would feel an obligation to try and help Heraklion. But if Izzy were not a part of the picture anymore, and the Neogi gets sorted out, and all this stuff seems to be like a semi-peaceful resolution, I could see him wanting to adventure.
I mean, I failed to mention that if asked, Mia would help take down Izzy, obviously.
What? Mia wants to take down Izzy? Really?
No way.
Mostly to see Shakara prove her goodness.
Leland, how do you see it all ending? As a DM?
I don't know. Because it's still up to what the 4 of you what your characters decide what course of action that they end up wanting to take, right? I mean, currently you have 2 of 5 pieces of the armor of Kalar. I mean, powerful items, right? Even an incomplete set. There's still an option of you to not hand the pieces to Samuel, right? And obviously that window is closing, but it's still there. When Samuel gets it, man, it's going to be nuts if he gets that set. It's going to be very interesting. If Isabella gets her hands on the eyes of Dendar, it's going to be very interesting.
When you say nuts, if he gets all the pieces, like, we talking like nuts good for us nuts bad for us nuts?
Really good.
Well, you have to wait and find out.
We're trying to figure out if we should actually give it to him.
I mean, there was a reason it was all dispersed in the first place, right?
And we didn't want to, we said that's future us problem to worry about what to do if we give it to him, but now it's like happening.
It's an almost now us problem.
I know.
So here's a question. Armor's coming together. You have no real idea what the origin of the armor of Kalar is, other than that it's somehow tied to a good. Whether that's Isabella or one of her own ancestors, unclear at this point. But thousands of years ago, the armor was together. It was used, and then it was broken apart by the cultists and Zelwicks. You no longer have Zelwicks to play into this. So that armor gets assembled again. How do you think, if at all, it can be separated again?
Only if cultist allows it.
If the Brightwoods get the band back together, lay it down.
Who's in the Brightwood band?
We are a very powerful family.
And Barrick.
I will call my daddy Thor, or whatever, Talos, and we'll lay the smack down.
It's very, me as a player and Falzarin as well, I think, very concerned about Samuel having access to this armor, because you're basically relying on his goodwill at that point, because I don't know how we would get it away from him. It seems like he's going to be incredibly powerful, probably way more powerful than we could deal with once he has all of that.
Just had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Cultist in the beginning of the campaign we thought was a big bad.
Mm-hmm.
He really was just misunderstood.
Yeah.
And Izzy was not misunderstood, but was a big bad.
Yes.
Oh no, they've figured out my tells.
The scapulet wasn't enough.
I mean, the armor of Kalar was used to seal away 2 primordial beings. That is more than clear enough to tell you how powerful that.
I mean, I know what that means
is.
now. When we first started playing, we were brand spanking new. You could have told me primordial, and I would have been like, okay.
Yeah, but what he's saying is we understand that now, and we're about to hand one person that much power.
It probably makes sense to just let Falzarin have it, honestly.
I just am kind of worried about Yogi. I don't know what else to
wear
do.
The armor, and he's a trustworthy guy.
Basically, if we give it to him, there's no way we can stop him from keeping it that way. And we have to realize that. But
will it take bringing Dendar back to get the armor to be broken up again?
Oh, frick. Can you imagine Dendar coming and fighting Sammy, and we just are audience members?
Oh, boy.
I feel like somebody mentioned this
okay,
a long time ago.
Leland's face kind of looked like that was something he's thought about, which is scaring me.
I've thought about a lot of things. I've thought about a lot of things.
Oh, no. I just want the listeners to be happy with, like, satisfied with however, I don't know, wraps up. It sucks when the 8th season sucks, you know? Bad writing. We're the writers, dang it.
It's a lot of pressure, honestly. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because I've never finished a campaign before, so.
What?
Never
really?
finished.
I don't know that we've... Oh, wow.
Do you feel
Never
like,
finished.
however you do it, you won't feel that it's good enough?
Oh, yeah, of course. Come on. That's like classic imposter syndrome
Yeah.
that I've been that we've been battling with this entire show. It's like, every
the
single...
painting's never done.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think you need
For
that
sure.
kind of
I
pressure.
can't believe. Wait, you've never finished a campaign, even as a player?
Yeah. Even as a player.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's the way most D&D campaigns go.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like John and Emily have done quite a few that end.
We do. We finish.
Yeah.
We're
They're
finishers.
Yeah.
finishers, bro.
I have been known to not finish
Breakfast.
television series.
Word sentences.
Yeah.
Wow. I would like to point out that everybody had a reaction to chime in except me.
Need to think quicker on your feet, Leland.
Well, I am very tired, so
I just had to laugh awkwardly because I was wondering where this was going.
No, I frequently don't finish TV series because endings are just never satisfying.
Oh, for real though, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine season finale has been sitting there. The Expanse season finale is sitting there because Bill demands that we leave it.
I'd rather leave it up to our imagination.
I have to finish, just to know.
I don't know.
That just means the episode before the last is your finale. And it's even more disappointing
Exactly.
because nobody even tried.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna put all of our budget, 80% of our budget, into the penultimate episode.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the second to last.
And then nobody listened to the last one.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do promise that there will be an ending and there won't be a cliffhanger, even though I really like cliffhangers. We're definitely going to have a conclusion.
I kind of do too.
We're going to have a
Okay.
conclusion. There has to be. There can't not be a conclusion. You can't just like,
Exactly.
oh, we give Samuel the armor, he puts him on. Okay, cool. That was a great campaign. Or oh, Isabella uses the eyes and Dendar pops out. All right, cool. Great campaign. Like, we're getting to a point where there's no possible way we can't have some resolution. And it's getting it's becoming more and more clear that resolution is not going to be good for the party. You four have
Looking
not
that way.
painted yourself into a very good position over these 4 years that
no.
we've been playing.
In our defense, Aspara has always been a very,
Oh, it's a cesspool.
Yeah.
not good
Aspara's a
place.
shithole. Aspara's a
What could we have
shithole.
done different? What major things could have been done differently? Okay, so taking out the towers.
Yeah.
No, I obviously I say that in jest, and I don't mean to say that.
I know,
you've
but
made
for real,
mistakes.
is there some big thing that changed where it's like you're screwed now? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Over how long this campaign's been going, it's just a series of unfortunate
Bad decisions.
right? Like it's a series of unfortunate events here.
Decisions. No, decisions. It's legally
Events.
distinct.
I just think I think a lot of things have gone the party's way, and I think a lot more just haven't though.
Yeah, I mean Shakara killing Bryn. You didn't do that. Emily didn't do that.
Yeah, well, that was
It was just a rule.
that
It was
was
a
our
bad
crit
rule.
fail rule, yeah, which is
Yeah.
in hindsight not the best rule.
That's a good example of like some things are just out of your control,
Well, that's
unfortunately.
what I'm saying.
It is a game with randomness.
Right. See, the four of you are my dice, right? The four of you are the random events. I really do hope that it doesn't feel like now that we're already like reflecting on a finished campaign here. This is weird.
I know.
But I hope it doesn't like feel like to listener that the things not going the party's way aren't like forced things, Like I really do feel like what's happened has happened very organically. I've done my best not to force or push any type of narrative.
I definitely feel that. I don't
I
feel
feel
like
that.
you've
I feel
railroaded
that.
us at all. And I don't
No.
think you're
No.
like constantly throwing bad things at us.
I probably wouldn't have been offended with a bit of railroading, to be honest, because half the time I felt like I had no idea what to do.
Well, yeah, and I think part of learning D&D from the very beginning was like the Elena in me was like Bryn is obsessed with these towers. That's the job. You got to do the job. But then like now that I've played a few more RPGs, you realize, oh, there's always a lot going on and always like, left or right. There's fork in the road constantly. It's a fork and path. Just got to choose a way. Oh, I can't believe it's. You know what though? I'm kind of excited for like the new freshness of like a new like I don't know. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
We have a ton of fun doing all our one shots together. Imagine how much more fun it is when it's like we get more invested in those weird, wacky characters because they're around longer than 3 episodes or something, you know?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get some like finality and some answers and see how all of this wraps up. Like we're obviously all very, very invested in it. So it's going to be really exciting to see how it all pans out. But it'll be fun too I'm looking forward to a new campaign as well.
Leland, do you think our next campaign will be as long? And listener, what is your opinion? Do you like
Well, yeah, I mean,
all the little minutia, or would you rather, new world every year type thing?
yeah, Britt kind of asks for our after party if how things could feel like it's coming to an end rather quickly, and if we've discussed about what's next, and we've loosely discussed
A bit, yeah.
a bit, and I think the general consensus is, regardless of what we do or what the setting turns out to be, we want to keep the campaign to like limit it to like a year, like 50-ish episodes, which for a weekly
For
release
listenability
is
purposes too.
Yeah.
Because new people are like, oh, this sounds great, but I can't listen to 170 episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a big barrier to entry for any show, really, any series show, right? So yeah, I think if we have shorter campaigns, I think that honestly is easy. Will probably end up being easier on you as players as well.
Not as much to remember.
Yeah.
My Aspara notebook is almost at an end. I have 1 page left.
Wow.
I'm surprised you've taken that many notes.
Because we seem dumb.
Is that a slam?
Take it as you will.
I didn't think you were paying that much attention.
No, it's more like you have a whole notebook full of notes and you're still confused.
We've discussed a few things. So, like, something else we discussed, right, is like we're going to be releasing our one shots all together for bingeability, that sort of thing, in finding them in the feed of podcasts. So, yeah, I don't know. New campaign. Who dis?
We got a lot of things to work out. I think we want to make some changes to how the Patreon works as well, which again we have to discuss in further detail. I don't know. It's strange. For me, it feels like we're in this like limbo right now, right? As we're almost kind of waiting for this campaign to end, which
Yeah.
I don't think is good. I don't like it because I think it'll affect the quality.
Yeah, I hope we don't rush through it wanting
Yeah.
to get on to the next thing.
Right.
It needs a proper ending.